Hello and welcome! My name is Hiro and this is my Let's Play series of Europa Universalis IV, where we are playing as the Ottomans. And this is the last episode in this series. We got the achievement, 1000, let me just find it here. Here it is. Own 1001 provinces directly. So this is what 1001 provinces, or actually 1007 provinces look like. So in this episode I'm mainly just gonna talk about how I did in this, or how I think I did in this campaign, what I think I could have done different, what I would do different if I had the chance. And then I'll do like a general talk about the achievement and how you might go about getting it. So I think that we could do it by going to timeline, and I could talk while we're doing this. So let's just go for medium speed, I think. So yeah, basically we started Ottomans, and I chose Ottomans because they are situated pretty perfectly among the starting nations for doing a vast conquest. This is because of the way aggressive expansion works. So basically, aggressive expansion only spreads to, well, it spreads to everyone, but it spreads faster to people who are the same religion as you, who is in the same region as you, or who has the same culture as you. So if you're attacking Christians, then all Christians near them will be mad, whereas if you're attacking Muslims, then Christians don't care, or at least not that much. So being Ottomans, we have access to, from the start of the game, 2 regions, and pretty quickly we'll have access to 3 or 4 regions even, where we can attack into Europe, into the Christian lands there. We can attack up to the Orthodox lands in Muscovy. We can attack into the Muslim lands in like the Timurid direction, and we can then attack down in Africa, which means that we have very, very good ways of dealing with aggressive expansion. And then of course Ottomans is a huge country, and we get to have the City of the World Desire right away, which gives really nice bonuses. Ottomans also have a very nice manpower pool, which lets you go to war almost constantly. And yeah, Ottomans are just fun to play. I am a little bit sad though, like I couldn't have known this, but in the next expansion we'll get a new government time for the Ottomans, so I'm a bit sad that I didn't wait with this campaign until after that. But then again, there will also always be new stuff for this game, which is part of the reason why I love it so much. So, what could I have done differently? Well, I think my start was pretty good. It's been a while since I was there, but I think we were doing pretty good in the start of the game. If you were going for a world conquest type thing, then we should have been in Spain and Portugal much faster, and should probably also have maybe even shut Muscovy down faster. Those are like the main things you want to do when you do a world conquest, because if Muscovy gets too big as Russia, it's too hard to take them down. And if Spain and Portugal gets going early, then you'll have too much of their territory to conquer in the New World. Whereas if you can like block them off, then you'll have some time before you need to worry about Great Britain and France and Holland and stuff like that. So if you can get to Spain and Portugal quickly, you kind of make sure that no problem there. But as it wasn't really a concern for me in this campaign, because I couldn't use any countries in the New World for this achievement, it wasn't really that big of a problem. Another thing I would have liked was to do the achievement Unify Islam at the same time. I was stupid enough not to read up on it, so I didn't know that we actually had to convert all of our lands, and it wouldn't have been that difficult. I should just have gone with like religious group ideas, or not converted any of my like Shia lands while I was playing in the early game. And I think again gone for Spain quickly, so we could have gone the territory for the achievement. I think it's definitely possible to do it, and especially since we have more than 40 years left in the game, so it would definitely be achievable to do both things in the game, I think. So I'm a bit sad I didn't do that. I might play this game on just by myself and see if I can get the achievement anyway, but I don't want to record it because it's gonna be a bitch to watch me just sit and basically kill rebels and convert shit. So yeah. So otherwise, I think I probably, if I wanted to do this perfectly or as fast as possible, I wouldn't have bothered with all those wars in Europe, and I wouldn't have bothered with having a European ally, especially not late game. As you could see if you've been following this series, I haven't really been using my allies in this game, and it isn't really that necessary being Ottomans, because you grow in power so quickly that unless you get a coalition against you, and if you're playing smartly, you shouldn't, um, you won't really need them. So there's no reason to be dragged into wars in Europe, which always are protracted. Of course, there's something to be said for the wars with France where we could get some points, but I would maybe, rather than taking a lot of land from them, just do the humiliate. It's much easier to just get 40 war score than like having to try to go for 100. So yeah, if I wanted to be faster on this achievement, just don't worry about Europe. There are plenty of things to take in Africa and Asia. So yeah. Also, I kind of would have wanted to have all Africa. That could have been like a fun extra thing to go for, to own all provinces in Africa. But in order to achieve that, I would have had to go much more aggressively into Africa, so I wouldn't have to deal with like a lot of European nations down there. Um, it's always annoying to go to war with the European nations, especially late game, because the Ottoman soldiers are really powerful early game, but they taper off in the mid game, and in the late game they are straight out worse the amount of pips that they have compared to the Western culture. So even if you Westernize, you're still gonna keep your Ottoman units, and you are gonna be inferior to Europe, especially when they catch up on ideas and so on and so forth. So yeah. Otherwise, yeah, I don't think there's much more to say about my playthrough. I guess we could go through my ideas, what I grabbed, if there's anything I would do different. So administrative ideas, I think, is a must to do first because of their adaptability, which goes greatly together with millets to make it extremely cheap to core stuff, especially with the new system where you start everything off as a territory. You can core extremely cheaply, and it made us, or made me, able to economize my admin points early game way better. One thing I would say is that the new territory and state system is definitely a challenge when you grow, because if you want to grow at the speed I did, you are going to have, as was pretty evident, you are going to have problems with rebels. So if you want to be able to support enough armies to have armies close to any hot zones, especially when you are expanding in up to 4 directions as we are with Ottomans, it is going to be a problem having enough money with it with the new state system. So, but then again, like, if you're only going for this achievement, and I say only, which is it wasn't an easy achievement, but if you're only going for this achievement, as you can see, we actually do have some extra time, so you could go a little bit slower in the start and maybe try to keep a little bit better off on states, and maybe you could even spend some more time on trade, which I never really did. So next idea, influence. This is for graphic expansion, but I do feel like I could probably have done without it. The diplomatic annexation cost is also nice, but again, I didn't really use that too much. If we're going for a world conquest, it would definitely be needed, because there simply isn't enough admin points to do that, I think. Especially not if you have the kind of luck we had with rulers during the mid game. So influence would probably be needed for that, but I'm not sure I needed it for my playthrough. I might have liked going with maybe humanism instead, although that is of course another admin idea, so that's a problem. Offensive quality, they are just a must. Getting that extra morale and power for all your units, as well as the discipline, is just very good, and it's very important. As you can see, the first couple of wars with France, we just rolled over them, and once they caught up and also got offensive equality, we suddenly had problems. The same goes for defensive, although I as Ottomans, I would save that for later because the morale we get for defensive isn't too much compared to the morale we already have for being Muslim and being pious. Then expansion and exploration. You could take exploration instead of expansion as I did, and then just not bother with expansion, because all I wanted was the colonist, so I could get free land basically. Of course, if you're going for world conquest, neither of them is needed because you don't really care how many provinces you have. You just have to have all the ones that exist. In this instance, though, we just wanted as many provinces as fast as possible, so gaining them for free, or at least without going to war with the colonist, was just a good idea. Having both of them, maybe not necessary. So, what would I have liked? Well, I actually have most of what I would like. Diplomatic can be nice, but since we don't really do the whole alliance thing in this playthrough, the only thing I really needed or wanted from it was this, what is it? Maybe it's not even in here anymore. Oh, this one, yeah, lowered impact, because I could have used this to get rid of my protectorates. Of course I could have just been smart enough not to get them in the first place, but it's the only thing I needed from this one. Then humanism could have been nice, but you need to pick it up early. And of course the reason why it's nice is because it gives national unrest and years of separatism. So it would mean that I would have far less of these rebels to deal with, which again could kinda deal with the money problem that I was having in the mid game. So that would be nice. Religious could also have been an idea if I really wanted to go for converting everything, but it was actually just taking the triggered modifiers helped out a lot in that, like just having the holy cities, the conquer of Jerusalem, and the conquest of Rome. Having those extra missionaries really helps out, and it's land that you're kind of taking anyway, except maybe for Rome. So that was really nice. Yeah, I think that's basically it. I think this one will be much easier to do with Ottomans in the next patch when you get a special government where you can kind of choose your own. You can choose your own heirs, so you can make sure that you always have nice, or at least average admin income, which would definitely be helping. We had a long stretch where we didn't really get that much admin income, so that was pretty balls. I think that's it. So the achievement in general, what to do. So obviously what I did as Ottomans was just to expand in all directions, but you could do this. Well, obviously you could do this achievement with every nation, since you can also do it with world conquest with Ryoko. So, but if you are not DDR and you still want to do it, then I would probably prefer like Ottoman, the Turks, the Kebab. It's probably the easiest nation to do it with, just because of the reason I stated in the start of this video. You can expand in all directions and deal with aggressive expansion really easily. Otherwise, of course, countries like France, or maybe even doing a Holy Roman Empire expansion into 1001 provinces could be a good way to doing it. No matter what, no matter how you're doing it, the key is to be at war most of the time. So any nation that you pick within Europe will kind of have the problem that you're always fighting against Western nations with the same religion, so you have big AE problems. So if you're going to do it with a European nation, definitely go for the state propaganda. Definitely go for the influence ideas quickly. Probably even like if you are starting here, I would not go for administrative first. I would go for influence and humanism first, and then have a little bit of a slower start, and then like really kick into gear later on. But yeah, France would be good. Prussia could be good with their space marines. Spain could be good. Spain and Portugal, because you could expand into Africa really quickly and get that aggressive expansion modulation. Of course, you could also do an Italy into Mediterranean stuff. Basically, you could do most countries. Poland and going into Commonwealth could also be okay because you could expand in different directions. The key is basically just to be at war all the time, which means that you need to deal with aggressive expansion, you need to deal with your manpower, and you need to deal with rebels. That's basically it. If anyone has any questions to anything specific, please post them in the comments. If there's a lot of questions, I might do a FAQ video. But I think that's it for me for this time. I hope you enjoyed this series, and I hope this video helped a little bit. But if you did, consider hitting the like button and subscribing. It will help me out a lot with my channel. And I hope to see you in my next series, which I don't know what will be about next yet, so I guess you'll have to tune in. Bye!